So hello and welcome everyone to our NetSuite 2022.2 Release Highlights webinar. My name's Ross Johnstone, and for those of you that don't know me, I'm a Solution Consultant and Account Manager here at Eureka Solutions. So before we jump into today's session, we'll just get started with some agenda items here just now, just in terms of what we're looking to cover in today's webinar. So to begin with, we're going to be going through a new release overview. So basically just all the information that you need to know about the new release process before jumping into our top 10 highlights from the 2022.2 release. Now, I understand that a lot of you will already be familiar with the new release overview, so we'll just spend about 5 minutes on that just to give a high-level overview. So the 2022.2 release, all customers will be upgraded in 3 phases. Now there's 1 phase in each month, and they happen between August, September and October. Now in terms of your exact upgrade date, you'll be given notice of that 3 weeks in advance of the upgrade. Now where can you find this? So on NetSuite, you can access a new release portlet on your home dashboard. Now this gives you information about the date of your upgrade, as well as access to sneak peeks, release notes and test plans as well. Now if you don't have that on your home dashboard already, then you can click on the personalize and then add the new release portlet from there. Now if you've been keeping up to date with the sneak peeks, release notes and test plans, then you might already be familiar with with some of these release features that we'll be going through today. But if there's anything that you want to look at in more detail, then please reach out to your account manager following this session. So administrators can also request access to the release preview. The release preview is a copy of your system in the new version, and it allows you to test all the key processes and customizations, as well as have a look at some of the new features as well. Now, from this release onwards, you may have seen that customer scheduled maintenance is now available for those that are on the Oracle Cloud infrastructure. So if the release date isn't perhaps on the most convenient time, then you can now request to reschedule that, which is something that has came out from this release. Now, before we jump into the top 10 from the new features from this release, just a quick disclaimer that these new features may be subject to change. So the release notes are reviewed on a weekly basis, and new features are added and removed on that weekly basis as well. So just quickly, before we jump into the top 10, this is the new release portlet. So once again, you can add this to your home dashboard by going to personalize and then new release. You'll see here it gives access to sneak peek logs, the release preview, as well as the release notes there as well. So without further ado, we'll jump into our top 10 feature highlights from the 2022.2 release. Now coming in at number 10, we have the vendor bill capture. Now going back to our disclaimer about features that may not make it into the release, this is one to highlight that it's not totally confirmed whether this feature is going to be available. It was originally in the release notes, but has actually been taken back out. But we'll be keeping a close eye to see if that comes back in to the 2022.2 release. Now, the vendor bill capture allows users to upload scanned vendor bills into the file cabinet, and then NetSuite will create vendor bills from the uploaded files using OCR technology. Now, by using this feature, it will eliminate the vendor bill data entry process, so no longer having to manually enter vendor bills into the system, which obviously reduces the manual errors and inconsistencies in entering in these supplier invoices. Now, beyond that, NetSuite also remembers what suggestions were correct or incorrect and implements those suggestions the next time the bill is created for that vendor, so the system is learning. Now, this feature, we have had access to this, so we have viewed this feature, and it is important to note that it is still in its infancy. So it is a feature that may take a bit of time and a bit of development to get right. But in the meantime, there are third-party apps, which some of you may use already, which provide the scan and capture functionality. So if this is something that you're interested in, then we'd be happy to discuss the options that are available just now, as well as the future NetSuite functionality as well. Now, just in terms of how this would look in NetSuite, you would get a side-by-side comparison of the invoice that you have dropped into the file, and you'll see here side-by-side comparison with the information that the OCR technology has picked up. You would get the option to review that and then submit and create that vendor bill. So once again, this is something that was in the release notes but has been removed, but it's worth just keeping an eye out in case this is a functionality that you would be interested in using. So at number 9, we have got intelligent item recommendations. Now this feature was actually added in the previous release, but it was late on into that release. So we thought it would be one that we may want to highlight just in case it's a feature that you have missed that you could take advantage of. So you see here just a disclaimer at the bottom. This is only available for accounts with at least 50 inventory items and a minimum number of transactions in the past 12 months. Now, the intelligent item recommendations feature allows sales representatives to view and add intelligent item recommendation to sales orders as they enter that. Now, using AI, the algorithms suggest these recommendations based on various different data points, such as what the customer has bought in the past, what other customers with similar transaction history have bought in the past, as well as other items that have been bought by customers that have bought that specific item. Now, in terms of how this would look, when entering a sales order, you'll see here it would pop up with the intelligent recommendations tab there. When you click into that, it would then give you a list of the items that the AI is suggesting may be of interest to that customer. Now, once again, if it's a feature that you're wanting to look at in more detail, then please feel free to reach out to your account manager following today's webinar. Now, at number 8, we have got scheduled refresh of cache data in datasets. Now, this enhancement is related to the SuiteApprovals workbooks. So once again, this is a relatively new feature that allows analytic tools to be used to create highly customizable workbooks that combine data sets, tables, pivot tables, and charts. So taking the reliance out of external EI and Excel and bringing more of that information into NetSuite. Now, in terms of this release, previously, if you had the cache data in datasets feature enabled, you could use the cached response and that would refresh the data every 60 minutes. Now, with the new enhancement of this, the frequency is now being optimized and adjusted depending on usage. So NetSuite will look into when you view your datasets, workbooks, and analytic portlets and ensure that the resources are optimized and that the data is refreshed when you need to view it. Now, the schedule frequency can vary now from 1 hour to 24 hours, depending on the usage on your account. So once again, just a feature to optimize resources when using the Suite Analytics Workbooks functionality. Now, in at number 7, we have got the menu search enhancement. So this is an enhancement in terms of the user interface within NetSuite. So with this enhancement, the NetSuite global search results will now include all hierarchy levels within the navigation menus. So obviously at the minute, you can go through the different traditional menu structure to access different areas of NetSuite, but now that structure will also be brought into the search results. So you'll see here from the picture, you'll get the menu results, which gives that sort of more granular hierarchy breakdown, just to be able to access different areas of the system quicker. Now, when you use these keywords in a global search, the enhanced results appear under a menu results heading. Now, this feature is enabled as default, but it can also be switched off by going to Home and Set Preferences, and then on the Analytics subtab, clearing the page search box. Now, in at number 6, we have got another UI enhancement. So this is the Inline Editor Sublist Tooltip. Now, just a picture of how this would look here, an example of how this would look within NetSuite. Now, when you're editing a sublist inline and you hover over a cell, a tooltip appears that shows the column name. If the sublist has many lines, now you can view the column name when scrolling down the sublist. So just a minor enhancement in terms of the UI of the system there. That just means that when you are using a sublist that has various lines, you can hover over and see the name of the column, so you don't have to scroll back up to the top to view that. Now, in at number 5, we have enhancements which are related to the planning of purchase order suggestions for inventory items. So with this new feature, this new enhancement, it enables you to create purchase orders based on suggestions derived from the planning system that's within NetSuite. Now, this enables you to order only the amount of inventory that is needed based on planning parameters. So making sure that we don't have stockouts whilst also maintaining the correct level of stock, making sure that we are not overstocking by using the suggestions from the planning system to raise POs for certain inventory items that we require. Now, beyond this, this enhancement also lets you view, act, and respond to customer needs on late orders as well. Now, in at number 4, we have some enhancements in terms of suite approvals. Now, just to add a disclaimer to this, not all users will be currently using SuiteApprovals. SuiteApprovals is a suite app which brings some standard functionality in terms of different approvals for transactions in the system. So some users will be using the suite apps, the SuiteApprovals suite apps, whereas others will be using more custom workflows in terms of approvals. Now, with this enhancement, users will now be able to save and review the records for any changes needed before they are submitted for approval. So with that, there will be a draft status. Now, this can be set as a preference to enable certain transaction types to be saved as a draft before this goes through the approvals routing process. Now, with this feature, you'll also be able to view the approvers that you'll be submitting this to. And if you've got this approved, if you've got this feature enabled, then you will be able to submit this draft, and then a button will appear to submit for approval, which you'll have to click to initiate that approval process. So once again, just adding in an extra optional step there if you do want to save a transaction as a draft before it is submitted for approval. Now, in at number 3, now the top 3 here, if you've been keeping up to date with the sneak peeks, which you can access from the new Release Portlet on your home dashboard, then you will already be familiar with these top 3. The first one that we've got here coming in at number 3 is the Smart Count feature. Now, the Smart Count is a solution which is designed for mobile devices, and its real aim is to help doing accurate inventory counts whilst minimising the impact that this has on the sales as well as the store operations. So it's really focused on allowing these inventory counts whilst avoiding having to freeze transaction across these different locations. So it also includes a live cycle counting feature, which once again can be run without freezing those transactions in the location, so there's no inconvenience when using this functionality. Smart Count also makes it possible for businesses to create lists of items needing to be counted. Now, these can be set up with predefined business rules and criteria. So if part of your cycle counting, you only want to count certain products based on certain rules and criteria, then they can all be set up with the Smart Count functionality. Smart Count can also automatically trigger a count to check the accuracy of bins if they fall below a set reorder point. Now, this allows you to guarantee that orders are placed only when inventory levels are truly low. So if you're using the reorder point functionality within NetSuite, then when that inventory level falls below this reorder point, Smart Count can be used to trigger a count to make sure that the accuracy is there, and then suggest orders based on that. Now, here's a picture of what this would look like. Once again, Smart Count is designed for a mobile interface, so it can be used on the go in warehouses, allowing users to complete these cycle counts on the go. Now, coming in at number 2, we have the new Rebates and Trade Promotions Suite app. Now, this is something that NetSuite has been talking about for a while. So it was a Suite solution for a while, and it's now been confirmed as a Suite app. Now, with the Rebates and Trade Promotion Suite app, users can easily create and manage rebate and trade promotion agreements within NetSuite. So typically, rebates and trade promotions, they may have to be manually calculated and tracked, say in Excel. This Suite app allows these rebates and trade promotions to be brought directly into NetSuite. Now, the Suite app itself automatically applies rebates and trade promotions to all valid transactions, as well as centralising and automating the creation, execution, accrual, and reconciliation of vendor and customer rebate programs. So it's on both sides, the supplier and customer rebates functionality there. Now, with this Suite app, users can define and accurately capture terms like the duration, the discount method, transaction qualifications, stackability, and so on. So you can really get down to the granular detail as to what these trade promotions and rebates look like. NetSuite would then automatically calculate rebate amounts by combining stackable promotions, or if they are unstackable, then selecting the optimal deal for each order, so customers are assured they're getting the best price. Now, last but not least, coming in at number 1, we have got the CRM add-on for NetSuite. Now, some customers may already be using the CRM functionality in NetSuite, whereas others may be still considering whether to make use of this. Now, for those that are considering using the CRM within NetSuite, there's never been a better time with the CRM add-on. So the recently introduced CRM add-on provides the enhanced Salesforce automation, marketing automation, and customer service management capabilities. Now, we can attest for NetSuite CRM itself, having used the system for our CRM tracking, marketing, as well as our cases on the customer service side. Now, the CRM add-on provides new roles and dashboards for sales reps, managers, marketing, and customer service teams, providing these users with access to NetSuite's real-time lead and sales activity data, thus empowering them to serve prospects and current customers to a higher standard. Now, as well as bringing these out-of-the-box roles and dashboards, the CRM add-on also makes use of the Suite Analytics workbooks functionality. So with the CRM add-on, this includes 10 pre-built Suite Analytics reports configured for sales performance metrics and KPIs, such as quotes to sales conversion, opportunity forecast, and won versus lost opportunities. So really giving you more out of the box in terms of the CRM functionality within NetSuite, making sure that you've got access to all of the reporting functionality along with the core CRM functionality as well.